For decades, deep within the redwood forests of Northern California, there has existed a place so heavily guarded, so deliberately hidden from public view, that even mentioning its name once invited ridicule rather than investigation. This place is known as Bohemian Grove, a private retreat spanning more than 2,000 acres, owned by the Bohemian Club, an elite organization composed of politicians, military leaders, intelligence officials, and powerful businessmen. What makes Bohemian Grove terrifying is not rumor alone, but the fact that rituals conducted there have been witnessed, recorded, and partially documented. The most disturbing of these rituals is known as the cremation of care, a ceremony performed in front of a 40-foot stone owl, a figure historically associated with the ancient deity Moloch, a god linked in historical texts to sacrifice and moral corruption. This is not a metaphor. This is a physical statue that still stands today, and the ritual still occurs annually. In the late 20th century, several witnesses, including journalists who infiltrated the grove, described scenes that felt less like a social gathering and more like a pagan rite. Hooded figures moved through the forest at night carrying torches. Chanting echoed through the trees. An effigy representing care or weakness was symbolically destroyed before the owl, while participants recited words that outsiders were never meant to hear. Officially, the ceremony is described as theatrical symbolism, but those who observed it up close reported an atmosphere of intense psychological pressure, fear, and reverence toward the owl itself. What turns this from unsettling symbolism into true horror are the unexplained deaths and disappearances linked indirectly to the grove. Former staff members and temporary workers have reported sudden deaths, alleged suicides, and accidents that occurred shortly after they attempted to speak publicly about what they witnessed inside the forest. While none of these cases were officially ruled ritual sacrifices, the clustering of deaths and the silence that followed raised serious concerns among investigators who quietly reviewed the cases. One former worker, whose name was later removed from public records, reportedly described seeing a real body-shaped object carried toward the lake during a late-night ceremony. Days later, he was found dead under circumstances labeled accidental. No full investigation followed. His testimony vanished. His family received no answers. The case remained sealed, buried beneath legal barriers and private influence. The fear surrounding Bohemian Grove is not just about what happens during the rituals, but about what never gets reported afterward. Local law enforcement has admitted off the record that calls made from inside the grove are treated differently. Media outlets that once attempted deep investigations suddenly went silent. Journalists who pushed too far were removed from assignments or threatened with lawsuits that never went to court but effectively destroyed careers. What haunts investigators most is the psychological impact described by those who entered the grove and left. Many reported recurring nightmares, anxiety, and a feeling of being watched long after leaving the area. Some claimed they felt as though something followed them home, not physically, but mentally. A presence tied not to belief, but to power. Bohemian Grove remains active today. The owl still stands, the rituals still occur, and the silence surrounding it remains unbroken. Whatever happens in those woods is protected not by secrecy alone, but by the kind of influence that ensures the truth never fully surfaces. This is not a ghost story. This is a place you can find on a map, and the rituals are still happening.